Hello, Judy Gunn here again, and today's day 11 of our video challenge, and today I'm going to tell you about my worst job. It's a job that nobody would want. It was quite a few years ago. It was at a time where I was really struggling, and I had 3 part-time jobs actually, and I took this one because it was like an afternoon one, or maybe afternoon night you could say. And the job was it was a telephone job. And so I got phone calls from all the hospitals to say what staff they wanted to work, like the night shift or the morning shift. They had 2 or 3 shifts through the day. So I'd call, did they call me? No, I call them. I'd call the hospitals, had a big list of all the hospitals. So I'd call them and say, what staff do you need for tonight and tomorrow? So do you need an RN or an EN or a guard, or all the different types of people who worked in hospitals? And they'd say, okay, you need 2 of these or 1 of these, and the times they'd need it. So then I'd hang up and I'd go into the database and find all the people who are registered doing casual work. So then I'd call them and find people to do those shifts. So it started off okay, and then it was so hard to get somebody to go to work. I mean, they'd put their name down to work casual, and the pay was really good. And then I'd ring up and say, oh, I've got a shift for you, and it's this time to this time, and they'd go, oh, I've been out all day, I don't really feel like working tonight. And I'd go, well, it's only 3 hours, it's only 4 hours. No, it doesn't matter. You sure? No, it doesn't matter. And I'd be ringing. And I had to fill them. I had to find people to do those shifts because they were needed at the hospital. So it was a little bit stressful because in the end I was sort of trying to convince people to go to work. They really need you. Can you please go? And so that side of it was a little bit stressful, but I handled it okay. But everybody, when I was working in a tall building in Perth in the city, and everybody went home at 5 o'clock in the building, which I didn't know. So I was the only one left in this. It was a huge building, it had about 18 levels, and no one else was working, only this agency and me. And I was working there till 11 o'clock. Well, it was all secure and everything. You had to push buttons to get in and out and that sort of thing. That's okay, but it was a little bit, a little bit funny being there all by myself till 11 o'clock. So 5 till 11 is like 6 hours. So I'd take some dinner with me, and I thought, oh, that's okay, if the phone didn't ring, or once I got everybody organised, I just had to sort of be there and manage the phone. But I remember one night, well, often, if I needed to go to the toilet, so I thought, oh, okay, I'll go to the toilet. It wasn't far, just down the hallway. So I nicked down the hallway, went to the toilet and came back and continued on with my shift or what have you. And 11 o'clock came, so I'd close everything down. Then I'd go downstairs. And of course, once you got out of the building, you couldn't go back in. So you'd make sure that you had everything you needed and got out. And then when I did get out at 11 o'clock or 10 past 11, the centre of town was like dead. There was nobody around. It was really dark. And I had to walk to where I parked the car, which wasn't close to the building. The city parking is never close to the buildings. And I didn't really like that, walking through the centre of the city at that time of night when it was really dark, and the streets I had to go down weren't lit. So I was sort of walking down dark streets, and it was a little bit, I didn't really like it. So I spoke to the boss and said, is there something else you can arrange? I don't think it's safe for me to be doing it anyway. And he said, well, everyone else does it. And I said, well, that doesn't mean it's right. You have a duty of care to make sure that I get home, or at least I get to my car. And he said, oh, no, we don't do anything like that. And I went, oh, okay then. And so then he said, oh, by the way, where were you last night? I was here. He said, well, such and such a hospital rang, and they said the phone rang out. And I said, well, maybe that was when I went to the toilet. And he said, well, in future, if you've got to go to the toilet, you take the phone with you. And I looked at him and I said, really? He said, yes, you take the phone with you. We're on call here 24 hours a day and someone has to answer the call. And I said, well, have you ever considered having 2 people on here? And he said, no, just one's enough, one's enough. I went, oh, okay. Anyway, I lasted a month. I was driving home one night and I thought, what are you doing? This is stupid. He was not looking after his staff. He treated them terrible. He spoke terrible to them. And I rang up and said, look, I'm not coming back tomorrow. And I said, you can put me through to the manager if you like. And he said, what do you mean you're not coming back tomorrow? And I said, because I do not want to be treated the way you treat me. I don't deserve it. And if I was to report you, you would be in a lot of trouble. You can't treat staff like you do. It's just not allowed. And he said, well, no one else complains. I said, probably because you're a bully. And I said, I'm complaining and I'm not coming back tomorrow. So send me my pay and see you later. I got home and I thought, oh, thank God I did that. I had to go and find another job, but I didn't care. I thought, I'm not going to be treated like that. Nobody should be. It was really mean, really nasty. And it wasn't just to me. And it wasn't me. He did it to all the staff. He was, nasty pasty. So that was my worst job. And, it took me a month to sort of, I stayed there because I needed the money. But then after a while, I thought, no, it's not about the money now. I don't need to be treated like that. I'm not putting up with that rubbish. So that was my worst job. So that's my video today. So I'll see you again tomorrow.